Hey guys, how's it going? Thank you so much for joining another YSCT training. This is going to be our session 4. So we're just going to keep going. In the previous sessions, we've already figured out the basic settings of our, call control settings, features, anyway. But we still have something left on our P-Series PBX. So today we're just going to finish all of them. And the most important thing for today's session will be the web client. So later on, I'm also going to switch my user account from this super administrator to an individual user account, which is going to be the web client. All right. So anyway, let's just jump in. Okay. Now, the first thing I'm going to talk about here is we can simply go check on system. You guys can see we still have something left here. Not big deal, but very important. Now, the first one you can see here, we have event notification, right? So in the previous session, we've already figured out all kinds of call features, right? Those sort of settings. Now, when you try to use your telephony system, let's see when you try to use your P-Series system in the future, probably you just want to get some notifications, some alerts. You truly want to figure out what is going on the system, right? Some sort of notification, some sort of alerts. Anyway, right? So here's the deal. If you want to make it work, then you're supposed to go check on event notification here, and this is just a place. Now let's take a look. First, the part you guys can see here is going to be event type. We have so many options, right? So many items. We just, make a list here. So you can see we have different levels of different items, right? Something we mark it as warning, something we mark it as information, and something maybe a little bit serious, we just mark it as alert. So we actually make different levels, or we give them different levels. And another deal here is going to be the switch. You can see this is the notification switch. So you can definitely make your own choice. Maybe something very important, for example, like alert. Absolutely, that's going to be a big deal, right? Whatever happens, if that issue, if that, let's see that event is alert, then absolutely we're supposed to enable the notification button. I'm pretty sure we just want to get notified because this is a serious problem. Now, however, some of our information, I guess, may not be that important, like web user logging success. It's not a big deal. Of course, we can get notified, but mostly we don't want to be disturbed, right? It's not a big deal. So we can probably just turn it off, all right? And also on the right hand here, on my right side here, you can see this one. This column is going to be email template. So absolutely, I just told you guys, I just mentioned, we can have some notifications right. So you can click on this button, and you guys can see this is going to be the notification template, all right? So for the notification template, unless you have a special requirement, otherwise I guess we can, pretty sure we can just keep the default one. We can keep what it is here. Not a problem, right? All right, so let's keep going. So I'm gonna skip this. All right, now next one. Let's just give it a check here. This is going to be notification contacts. Now, since I mentioned we can turn it off, the notification switch, then absolutely we need a bunch of notification contacts. So how can we notify a contact? You can go click on add here, add a new contact here. Very simple. And the notification contact is flexible. It could be one of your extension users. It could also be a custom contact. It's really flexible. So if you choose a custom contact here to notify him if there's something wrong happens on the system, then simply you will need to drop the name here. All right, we need to figure out who's going to be the contact, right? And also we need to enable something here like a notification methods, right? So if this is going to be an external contact, then the way how we notify him or her can be sending email or calling mobile. Two options. And the next part is going to be event levels to notify. Well, we have 3 levels, right? Which we just mentioned before. So you want to notify this person, you can just make your choice. What type of events you want to notify him, right? We have information, we have warning, we have alert. So make your selection here. Okay, so this is just the way how we notify a outside contact. And if we want to notify one of our extension users, we can just choose him, right? For example, like Leo. I'm going to inform Leo if there's something wrong happens. So it will be more flexible, actually. We can notify him by sending email, by calling extension, or by calling mobile. More options, right? And here you will do the same thing. Select the event levels to notify him. All right. So this is basically the way how we make use of the event notification, just in case if there's something wrong happens on the system. And one more step here will be event logs. So if you want to figure out what is going on there, well, you can basically go check on event logs here. All right. So all the details will be posted here. All right. And also, by the way, as the super administrator, every single time when you log into the system, you can see on the right side corner here, we have this notification bell. When you click on notification bell, now you will go access event logs here as well. And this place basically just show you all the new message, all the new, notifications, messages. You can just give it a check here. If you're cool with them, all right, let's see, I'm okay with all of this. So I can just mark all as red. That's it. Then you guys can see this notification bell. It turns normal. That notification button just is going to be disappeared. So this is about the event notification. I guess it's not a big deal, but it's very important, especially you want to figure out what is going on your system. All right. Now, let's keep going. The next feature I'm going to talk about in today's session will be Hot Standby. What is the Hot Standby, guys? The Hot Standby is just a redundancy solution on our P-Series system. For small business users, I guess this feature may not be that important, but if this is going to be a project, or maybe for medium-sized enterprise users, pretty sure they do care about this. Let's see, we got a project for school, or maybe for government users. Anyway, that type of project. So the point is, they truly want their telephony system be okay all the time, right? But you can't make sure, right? This is a hardware. Even the software, even a cloud-based system, you can't make sure. You can't 100% make sure. Who knows what's going to happen, right? But the thing is, if we have a backup solution, if we have a redundancy solution, then this is not going to be an issue, right? So that's why we need a Hot Standby, especially for those type of project, right? People, they care about the stability. They just care about reliability. Then we can simply enable the Hot Standby here. Now, how do we use the Hot Standby? Honestly, guys, you can see the configuration is pretty simple, just a few steps there. But before we start talking about the configurations, I guess we need to figure out the basic conditions. There are several conditions we must make sure, all right, at the very beginning. So the first thing is, if you want to use the Hot Standby feature, especially based on our P-Series supply installation, you're supposed to purchase two systems, guys, two hardwares. And you have to make sure two hardwares are at the same model, exactly the same model. For example, if my primary system is P570, then my secondary system is also supposed to be P570. I cannot take another P550 for the Hot Standby. It doesn't work. All right, so make sure they are the same model. This is step one. Step two, you're also going to need to check the firmware version, the hardware version. Make sure they're under the same hardware version, firmware version. Very important. All right. And step three, just give it a check on the hardware installation. You know, our P-Series system, it supports modularity, right? So we can use different modules for the customization. We can use expansion board. Anyway, so you also need to give it a check there. Make sure the hardware installations are also the same. All right. And then later on, we can just enable the Hot Standby feature. So let's give it a check. This part of configuration is very easy. You can simply go enable Hot Standby, step one. Step two, you guys can see the server information here. Now, here, you can choose to make this particular one as your primary server or secondary server. It depends on you. All right. So let's see. I want to make this one as the primary server. Then I will just select this one. Then on the other hand, the other system will just work as the secondary system. So which means the other system is going to work as the backup server, right? That's the redundancy solution I mentioned, right? And then we will need to enter something here, primary server host name. For the host name, if you never change it, I guess it's called IP PBX. You can basically go back to your network settings. You can get the host name there. But my suggestion here is, since we have two systems now, the primary system, the secondary system, it's better for us to customize the host name. All right, so you will be able to figure them out. Two different servers, make it clear, Anyway, so for example, if the primary server hosts the name, I would like to call this as like a PBX A. Then for the secondary server, I might probably name it as PBX B. All right, just an example. Okay, so you would just do something like that. Enter it, fill in blanks. And another one is going to be the secondary server IP address. As we know, every single one of our PBX got a particular IP address. Especially under the local area network, we're going to use the private IP address, which is configured by ourselves. So we use that secondary server IP address over here. Well, talking about this, guys, another big deal. Another big deal is if you try to use the hot standby feature, you have to make sure two systems are deployed in the same local area network. You cannot use the remote network for the hot standby. It won't work. Keep this in your mind. So make sure they're deployed in the same local area network. Okay? And next part, access code. So access code, it could be anything. You can probably set an access code here, but you can see here, the notification tells you the length of the value you enter should not be less than 8. For security reasons, so it's better for you to make it be a little bit complex. For the access code. All right, this is just an example. And one more thing, it's going to be the virtual IP address. I'm pretty sure you guys now have a question is, the hot standby feature, we're going to use two systems, right? Both of our primary system and the secondary system, they're going to work simultaneously for the hot standby, right? So here's the deal. When we try to use the PBX for communications, we're gonna actually register a bunch of IP phones on it, right? So many endpoints. Now we have two systems. So exactly which one of them are we gonna register our phones on? This is a good question, right? So here's the deal. That's why we need the virtual IP address. For the hot standby feature, we will need to get a reserved IP address in your local area network. Now that's very important, guys. And this reserved IP address, we're actually going to use it as this particular virtual IP address for hot standby. And the thing is, next time, it really doesn't matter which system is working now, the primary system or the backup system. Anyway, the point is all of our phone registration, all of our SIP trunk registration, all of our connectivity, any kind of network connectivity with your PBX, they all go through this particular virtual IP address instead of your, private IP address on your PBX A or PBX B. That's very important. That's why we need this virtual IP address here. So virtual IP address could be anything, but it depends on your local area network configuration. All right, once again, guys. So I didn't fill in here because I don't have a virtual IP address for now. But I want you guys to keep this in your mind. Be careful. You truly need a virtual IP address. And that's why I mentioned, get yourself be ready with this reserved IP address. You must need it, all right, and then you will need to configure it here. Don't forget to set the subnet mask, virtual gateway, network connection detection, anyway, those sort of configurations. Later on, like I said, once again, all of our endpoints, all of our SIP chunks, all of our network connectivities, anyway, they're all going to go for this particular virtual IP address. So that makes sense. That truly makes sense. It's gonna like whatever happens on your primary system, the secondary system will just takes over automatically. That's the hot standby feature, right? And then we have this virtual IP address, so it really doesn't matter which system is on and off. That's it. And let's keep going. And one more thing here is going to be advanced settings. You can see we have heartbeat interval. It's going to be 2 seconds by default, and dead time is going to be 120 seconds. So what's the meaning? The meaning is heartbeat interval 2 seconds means every 2 seconds the secondary system, let's see, the secondary PBX will just send the detection packet, and that packet carries the some data. It's just like the heartbeat detection. Send it from the secondary server to the primary server. And the primary server is supposed to handle this data. Give us a feedback under 120 seconds, which is dead time. If you give the feedback to the secondary server over 120 seconds, over the dead time, well, the secondary server will take action. All right, this is just the the way how we judge whether the primary system is working or not. So if you gives me anything back over 120 seconds, or you probably never gives me any feedback, then the secondary server will just takes over automatically. Now that's just the entire process. All right. And of course, we can choose to enable something else, recording data synchronization. So your data sync will be recorded anyway, a recording, something like this. And we can also enable this one, a literal WAN port. So for this feature, it's not that popular. It actually depends. I think you guys do remember in session 1 we mentioned for SIP trunk connection, all right, for SIP trunk configuration, we have two options. We can use a LAN port. I'm sorry, we can use the single mode, bridge mode, right? Or option 2, we can just use WAN port. I'm sorry, the dual mode with the WAN port. So for that circumstance, we can probably need to enable this on literal WAN port. All right. This one, I'm sorry, unilateral WAN port configuration. This one actually is very important, especially the way how you get the SIP trunks is under the particular circumstance, which is called dedicated SIP trunk. Because the thing is, you have two different cables, right? You have a particular Ethernet cable for your internet connection. You have another one for your SIP trunk connection. So for that circumstance, we will need to enable unilateral WAN port because we have a very particular, let's see, this SIP trunk, all right, Ethernet cable. So we will need to enable this just to make sure that SIP channel can still work. All right. Okay, and one more thing here about the hot standby feature is you actually need to make sure the hot standby feature is configured on the LAN port. That's it, guys. That's another condition. Don't forget to configure hot standby. Make it be configured on the LAN port on both of your primary system and the secondary system. All right. So this is about the hot standby. And later on, we will just need to switch it to the secondary server. So we're basically going to do the same thing. But the difference is here we will select secondary server. And here we just need to enter some details of the secondary server and the primary server information. Make the connection. All right. So this is about the hot standby. Okay. Now, because I don't have a particular hardware now for the hot standby, so I cannot show you the entire process. But now I can just tell you that's just how we make it work. Okay. All right. Now let's keep going. So this is about it. Now next part. Next part I think is going to be very easy. Something in the maintenance. Let's give it a check. First thing, upgrade. If you want to check the new firmware, you want to upgrade your system, anyway, you go for this place. I don't think this is a big deal, right? You can check for new firmware manually, or you can just go for, the automatic upgrading. This is pretty simple about this part. Or you can even set a schedule so you don't need to worry about this. The system will get the update automatically. All right. And another one is going to be backup and restore. So if you want to make a backup for your system, remember it's over here. And by the way, for any kind of troubleshooting, our suggestion is always make a backup first. So you can make sure whatever happens, maybe something wrong. But I'm not gonna worry about that because I still have the backup. I can just restore my system, right? So this is the backup and restore. By the way, you can also set a schedule for the backup. That's also supported. Make your selection. Like you can you can back up something like custom prompts, CDR, company contacts, anyway. All right. And as for the storage location, we have a couple of options there. Now, for now, I only have the local flash, but if you have something else, you can choose it. Okay. Oh, then here's Reboot. So I guess Reboot might be the easiest way for troubleshooting. If there's something wrong happens on the system, you don't even know what's going on there. 9 times out of 10, the first step is going to be system reboot. We can just reboot our system. Right. Then number 4, reset. Be careful with this, guys. We even give you the notification here, all right? Make a backup first for the reset, all right? Because once you click on that button, everything will be back to the factory mode. So be careful with this. If you truly want to reset everything, you better get yourself be ready with the backup. All right. Now here's the operation logs. Whatever you've done on the system, they are totally recorded in this list. The operation logs, right? Then we have troubleshooting. Take a look here. A couple of tools there, very functional. Take a look. Number 1 is going to be Ethernet capture tool. So sometimes maybe something wrong happens on the system. You can actually go for Ethernet capture tool here. You can just go for Ethernet capture tool here, capture some packets. Let me just keep going with this part. Okay. Like I said, something happens, you can actually use the Ethernet capture tool. So, for example, like if I have something wrong with my SIP channel or something, I can go for this part, capture the packets. Then I use the third-party application. Mostly we're going to use something like a Wireshark. It can help us to give us the analyzation. You can just read the packets. It tells you the details, exactly what about the data transmission. All right. And number 2 is going to be port monitor tool. This tool we can use this for capture, for capturing some audio file. If you have something wrong happens on your FXO channel, the PSTN line, you can capture this. So that's going to be the audio file. Then you use the third-party application, I guess. You can use something like Adobe Audition, something very popular there for this part of configuration. I'm sorry, guys. Let me just try to log into the system again. I think someone is using the system right now simultaneously. That might be the problem. So just wait for a while and let's finish this part. Okay. And the next one is going to be IP pin the connection, right? So you want to check the connectivity, you use the IP pin directly. Here, just enter the target, the destination. It will pin the connection. Then the last one will be trace route. It's similar with our IP pin, but it will tell you more details. It will tell you exactly the details, like your data transmission, all the details. You can be able to figure out on this part of configuration. All right, so that will be the trace route. Okay. Then for the last one will be the system locks. So for any type of troubleshooting, you can also use system locks here as well. But mostly we don't use this unless you have a serious system problem. Then you can get the system locks here. All right. Then here's the reports and recording. So you want to get the CDR, you want to get the recording. Here's the place. Okay. Now, I guess I don't have any recording now. So let's just keep going. Now, next part I'm going to log out. I'm actually going to show you something based on my web client. So I will switch the user account to my personal account, to an individual user account. Let's jump in as an extension, which is 2000. Okay, here we go. This is going to be the web client. Now, take a look. So you can use the web client for your communications, for your collaboration, and if you have the user permission, you can even manage your system. You can even configure the system by using the web client as well. So first thing first, on my right side corner, you guys can see that's my user account. That's the personal user account, so which means this is for this individual user, right? The web client. And here's the Dell pad. You can make a cup of coffee here, right? And one more thing. Here's the collaboration, one of our collaboration features, which is the presence. So we want to manage our presence, which I think we've already talked about it in the session 1. Over here, this is the place for individual users to switch their presences. Okay? And another one will be this. You can see here. We even have the function key. All right, this is the virtual function key feature. But pretty sure it's customizable. Totally, we can support 120 function keys for every single one of our individual users. And for each one of our function keys, we have 12 types for your customization. I'm going to talk about more details later, okay? So just have an overview first. And the next one will be extensions. Here's the place for you to manage all of your extensions. But again, you guys still remember in session 1 I mentioned something called extension group. Still remember? You can actually create a couple of extension groups there for different departments, right? And you can also set the user permissions. The user, I think it's called group visibility, right? So here's the deal. Check this. Currently, I can see Yeastar training. I can see training team. I can see sales department. Anyway, a couple of things like this. But obviously, I can never see tech support, sales department. Sales department, I can see it. I'm sorry. The R&D department, right? Why? Because the visibility of those particular groups are not going to be available for me, so I'm not going to be able to see any of them. I can only see this because I have the user permission to see this particular extension group. And over here, we can click on this button to start an audio call. This is the way how we start an audio call. It's totally WebRTC supported. You can just go for it directly based on your wrap. And here's the video call feature. You can also start a video call here as well. Well, if you want to have a video call feature, don't forget to fix the camera on your computer. If this is a PC, well, if this is a laptop, you don't need to worry about it. You already have the built-in camera, right? And one more thing about the video call feature is going to be the ultimate plan. So don't forget to subscribe to the ultimate plan, otherwise you can't use it. Then one more thing here will be the chat function. This is just an instant message feature. You can chat with this particular agent. You can send documents with him. You can also start a group chat by clicking over here. All right. Then next part will be contacts. So here's the place for you to figure out all of your contacts. In session 1, we mentioned we got a contacts feature there, and if you have the user permission, you can just see all of your contacts, and you can even edit your contacts. I mean, company contacts. But the condition is you have to make sure you get the user permission. If you don't have it, there's nothing you can do here. Okay? Now let's keep going. Then here's the video conferencing. Again, video conferencing feature requires the ultimate plan. So don't forget to subscribe to the ultimate plan, otherwise this feature is not going to be available for you to use it. So as for how do we use the video conferencing, it's very easy. You go click on this button so you can start an instant meeting right now. This is also WebRTC based, so we can simply go click on create here directly. Then we're just going to use our browser to start the video conference now. And as for other participants, because I told you guys this is WebRTC based, so we can simply copy this meeting link. You see this? Copy the invitation link, send it to our contacts. They can go click on link to join the same session right now. That's it. Based on WebRTC, very easy to use. Now, during the session, we can control our mic, cameras, very easy, very simple. And here we can also share the screen, which is so functional. So if you have anything important you want to share with your agents, your colleagues, anyway, you go click on share screen here. Okay? And here's the chat panel, by the way. You can also have a little chat there. Here you can manage your participants. All right. So that was basically all about this video conference. It's more like a lightweight video conference face-to-face communication solution. All right. Get back here, and another thing here will be meeting link. So you can also create a meeting link in advance as well. Like I can set a link for tomorrow's meeting in advance, and I can choose to set the password for participants or for the host anyway. Okay. And here's the operator panel. The operator panel also requires the user permission. Now, if you already set the user permission for this particular agent, like me, now I can just use it. And this operator panel is just like I said. It's like a visualized real-time call control panel. So for all kinds of calls, incoming calls, outgoing calls, internal calls, or external calls, you want to manage them, you can just use the operator panel directly. Simply use your mouse control, guys. You don't even need to figure out what is the feature code for the call transfer, or for call recording, or for any kind of call management. I can just use my mouse control, click on it, or maybe drag and drop for the operation. And one more thing here will be the call center console. In the previous session, I think we already talked about queue settings. Still remember? Queue feature can help us to manage the service center. Now, if you're running the service center, truly, you want to figure out the team performance. We got the built-in call center solution, and there you go. You use your web client. So whatever it is, you could work as the supervisor, you could work as the ordinary agent. Anyway, you will be able to see this. First thing is going to be the wordboard. All of our agent performance are going to be posted here on the list. And you can customize them, make it smaller, make it bigger, as you wish. This is fully customizable. And besides that, here you can also switch your queues. You might probably have a couple of queues there, and you want to see different queues performance, you can just switch them over here. And you can even go click on this button to take this wordboard out of your browser. I mean, this is really functional. It's really practical. Sometimes, like you're running a service center, you want to post the team performance on the big screen, but you don't want to post everything over there. All right, you don't want to post, you just don't want to post all of your browser, your entire browser, because that's your private user account, right? That's a little bit weird. So you can just take this wordboard out of the browser directly, posted this on the big screen. All right. And another one will be the Q panel. So if you're in charge of the team, like the supervisor or something, anyway, you can just use the Q panel here. So for incoming calls, for waiting calls, for active calls, they're all going to be posted here. And especially your identity is going to be the supervisor. I mean, the manager, right? You just have the user permission to manage the entire team. Then you can lock them in or lock them out for dynamic agent, right? If this is going to be a static agent, you can pause them, you can pause them, you can distribute a call to a particular agent as well by drag and drop, by mouse click. All right, so this is what you can do with this part. Okay. All right, and as for the rest of our configurations here are pretty simple, like call logs, like voicemails, like recordings. Not a big deal. Those things are all synchronized, from our PBX. So totally, it's all synchronized. You can just go check here directly. And the next one will be preferences. So over here, you can also have some customization for your personal user accounts preferences. One of the big deal here will be the function keys, which I was talking about before. So here you can add 120 function keys. I mean, that's a lot. And every single one of your keys got a 12 key types. So you can check your voicemail, you can check BLF, you can have speed dial anyway. It's just like a virtual function keys without any physical buttons, but it's really functional. It's really practical. All right. The last one will be Chrome extension. You can also use the Chrome extension. Go click on it, and you're going to go visit Chrome Web Store. So we have this Chrome extension. That's for free. It's called Yeastar Linkus for Google. Add this Chrome extension on your browser. It will be really functional. It helps you a lot. Because we're talking about web client, right? So sometimes we might probably get one of our concerns is, hey, if I'm using the web client, now what if I just close my browser? What if I just turn off my web client? What's going to happen, right? That will be our concern. Well, you don't need to worry about that. You can have this Linkus for Google, this Chrome extension directly. I think I need to reconnect to my system. I need to re-log in to my user account to activate this. By the way, you guys can also see this. You get this free Chrome extension. You want to use this. First of all, you get the Chrome extension on your browser, and you will need to log out. Then just try to reconnect it. Then we can just make this connection. All right, that will be the Chrome extension. Okay. One more thing here will be this, Access Management Portal. Give it a check here. Now, if you have the user permission to access the management portal, then you can actually switch it back to the management portal as well. Now, for the user permission, that's something we've already talked about in the session 1, all right, which is going to be user role settings. Now you guys can see this is connected automatically. All right. This is the Chrome extension, by the way. All right, I'm going to turn this thing off. Okay, so once we're back over here, like I said, the user role settings, you have a couple of options there, right? So if you set yourself as the administrator, now, for example, my extension number is 2000. You can see this. Let's see extension 2000. Extension 2000, it's over here. You can see extension 2000. The user role is administrator. All right, so I do have the user permission to manage the entire system. I can configure them, I can change them, do whatever I wish. That's the user permission. All right, and that's the way how we use the web client to switch it to switch from the web client to to management portal back and forth. All right. Okay, so guys, I guess that was all we have for this session. Hopefully everything's clear. Need more details? Once again, don't forget to subscribe our YouTube channel, and also don't forget to visit our website, www.yeastar.com. Okay?